spun yet, so and I was doing that a lot in our practice.
I haven't spun yet either, I've just lost the rear a couple of times. I'm gonna test these track limits on my outlap.
Good shoe actually, good shout. Zamas is flying. Oh, I wonder how many corners he's cutting.
Yeah, this is regular. This is regular. I literally just went so wide at cops and it was fine. Cut maggots. The cow just go past me. You're only gonna overtake me on your hot lap.
Yeah, you can cut maggots and beckets so much. I can definitely go a lot quicker now. I know that. God, get off the grass though. Oh god, I've spun! Spun just from about to sit my lap. My tyres.
Silly.
Hey Mowen.
Left here in qualifying. Who's on a flyer? Mowen in the Alfa Romeo. Currently 19th on the grid. Looking to set a lap here and improve on that 127.5. It's a major improvement. Into 18th he goes. It's a 126.753 emulator.
Can hear those red lights. They're not popping up on my screen, but there we are. Mikal with a very poor start. That is Zamas and Freeware up into the lead. It looks like around the outside. He's going to go into Team 1. He's got the move done there on the McLaren. We've got a yellow flag. Who is that? It's the Ferrari of Itzamax off into Turn 1. And the two Red Bulls synchronized spinning into Turn 3. One is facing the wrong way, the other rejoining the track now ahead of the Renault of Emulator. So Swifty into 16th, Gadwin all the way down into 19th. But up at the front, Freeware and Zamas are actually shot away from the start of the grid. Domai up the inside of Liam, the Alfa Romeo on the racing point there. And oh my goodness, what a start to this race that was.
I'm in the midst of things in P6. Oh god, I'm on the inside. Help me please, God.
Oh, God, here we go, boys.
I'm in prime position to punt you.
Here comes. Just look out for Dommy in lagging.
Wow, he's finally. Lap 2? Heh?
It's fine. Alright, here we go.
I don't know if I want to get a good start.
Blue flag.
Blue flag?
I've got a blue flag.
I live.
Crampy. Jesus Christ, man. Flyer.
Good say. I'm a god at starts.
Oh, Gadwin, what have you done? He's taken out his teammate.
P6.
Taking. Oh God, Dommy, give me space, man.
Oh my god, I'm in P4.
God, Dommy, give me space.
What a mess, I'm in P4. I'm not with the big boys here.
Me and Dommy are battling out.
This just shows my pace was not a fluke. I'm just a god at starts.
Huh?
I'm pretty sure like they said that the people who abuse track limits will get penalised. Me and Mikal both ran wide.
Okay, that's a good start. Keep it up.
Oh no. Me and Dommy were side by side in maggots and beckets. He hit my rear wheel. Here comes Asher Giant, look how he's flying!
Superior grip. Because he's in Alpha Tauri. Not a house. I'm lagging quite a bit.
Whoa, man.
Oh, I ran wide.
same. The thing's glitched up.
Now as he comes up through Sector 1, let's see if we can get the proper shot we need here. He's quite slow through these turns. It's very possible that he has front wing damage, as these cameras are absolutely trolling me today. But Liam... Oh, and Liam's had a spin! And that's just heading into Luffield, so he's off in the racing point. And as I've just switched my camera to him, it's literally launched him through
Oh,
it.
and that's Mowen sideways as well, through Luffield as well. He had a little bit of a tap with Extreme there. I don't know whether that was because of the yellow flags caused by Liam being off the track, and he had to try and avoid overtaking, because he was in a very good stead to do so, but very well done for him to catching that. But
Extreme now coming through these sharp Maggots and Beckett's fast turns here, where Max Singster is seemingly under serious threat. DRS now wide open on the rear of that Williams, as Mowen now has recovered into 9th. He'll be coming down here as well, but that is, of course, Extreme up the outside of the Haas. Max Singster and him having a little bit of contact. Max Singster into the grass now. Extreme in 7th position ahead. Mowen has cut up to Max Singster already as well. And now Max Singster is under threat from the Alfa Romeo.
Oh, I've been having problems with traction a lot. I'm gonna come out in P16. Damage?
Yellow ring.
Are you gonna hit?
I'm gonna have to, aren't I? Oh, Mowen's been hit. He's fine now.
Join me, Leo.
Green flag.
Either half of my win was red though. Oh my god, it's Nigel! Well, I'm beating a tier 1 driver, so I'm officially better than him, so...
Oh, my ERS is on. Damn it.
Put on for hard as well, we can do identical strategies on it.
I might just keep going, to be honest.
How bad is the damage?
There's only yellow. I'm gonna get a third person shot. You can't even see the damage.
I could hardly turn in at all.
I have a lot less downforce, but it's not terrible.
And you've got Hyper as well. He's joining the party after he had his little wobble in the first sector a couple laps ago. But it is Mowen in that Alfa Romeo who looks most poised for a strike in the next few laps. And we've also got Extreme's teammate. He's also charging. This time it's for 4th place, though. DRS, he's already pretty much out of battery charge. But he is looking for the Alpha Tauri of Aphrodite there. Can he get a switch back into Luffield here? It's not going to happen for him this time, but he is on the faster soft compound tyre, so he will be looking for some positions for sure.
One thing to note real quick, for these MRL Endurance Series races, if I'm not mistaken, our lobby settings for these ones are reduced damage and regular corner cutting, just for the sake of the fact that it is, of course, pretty well a 2-hour race. And Jack S now looking quite strong with the DRS coming down the hanger straight, coming up into Stowe. No battery in that Williams at all.
Meanwhile, the battle down for what I believe is, you could call it 7th place. Realistically, there's a huge train of cars down here as Itzamax up the inside of the Haas of Max. I believe Max was disqualified from qualifying, so he started right down at the back, and he's now losing the positions he gained off of the start. I mean, he's still up 9 places on where he starts, a little bit wide out of the final corner there, as his teammate Crampy in the pit lane. He's in last at the moment. You can see this guy's absolutely flying through the fast corners here at Silverstone. That's Itzamax. He's just got past Max Inkster. Can he get past the Alfa Romeo of Mowen now? The number 5 Ferrari there.
Oh, an Inulator has been disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. And that is quite terrible for the Renault.
And now his AI is sort of trundling along at the side there.
Jackass, meanwhile, still in this hunt for fourth position, looking for Astrodate as there is another overtake. I think that is Yasko getting ahead of the Haas. Now Liam in the Racing Point looking at the Haas as well as Max Singster is dropping through the field.
Yeah,
This
well,
train is very, very spread out, but there goes Liam out of Maggots and Beckett's. DRS wide open. Getting out wheel to wheel with the Haas. Very close racing into Stowe. The Haas of Max Singster going wide there, getting a tap into the grass. And that is Liam out in front right now.
One thing I think it's worth pointing out is the front three. Not only are they separating themselves from the pack, they're also separating each other from each other. As I think that's Gadwin off in the second sector. He's about to be lapped, it would appear, by Zamus. Crampy's just retired. Is that a crash on pit entrance, or has he retired the car in the pit lane? Looks like it's still moving, so I think that's a retirement in
Yasko
the
on
pit lane.
Mowen right now, wheel to wheel. Big lock up there from the Ferrari, but Yasko still manages to get out into 10th position as this train is still going. It's a Max now, looking at Extreme. On the outside, wheel to wheel coming into Cops. The Ferrari's out in front, and that is the move done from Itamax for now. Yasko catching up to this action. Is Extreme going to have a possible switchback coming out of Maggots and Beckett's? That is the question, as the Williams sticking very well with the Ferrari right now, but Extreme's had an issue and he is into the wall. Mowen gets through. Yasko has now joined his teammate for an 8-9 for the Scuderia, and Mowen is in the last points position, catching up with the Ferraris.
Extreme has lost an end plate there. So whether he'll soldier on with the damage with slightly reduced lap times, or no, he is going to come into the pits. Now, I think he would struggle to go to the end here on hards, despite it being a possible one stop, if not impossible to go to the end on the hards. So whether he goes hards now for a soft later, he started on the medium, so he can't really go soft, medium here, which would be a pretty decent two-stop for him. He could go for another set of mediums and then softs at the end. But it looks like it's going to be softs for the Williams.
Now it is Ferrari versus Ferrari now, as Yasko and Itamax are going to be fighting for 8th position. Itamax currently 3 seconds off of the Renault in 7th, that is Hyper. But Yasko, his teammate, right on his gearbox right now, less than half a second separating them in this battle right now. Yasko weaving that car, coming into Cops. Maybe
Just
signaling for a pass. I don't know if we'll have any
another
team orders.
Williams. It's Jack out of Maggots and Beckett's. He's in the gravel, also missing a left end plate. And he's going to have to let this huge train of cars come through, otherwise he's going to get a dangerous rejoin here. And that's a huge loss of not only positions, but time as well.
Oh, and he's taken the
10-second time
penalty.
penalty. That's so unfortunate
Oh,
for him.
very unfortunate. Meanwhile, Yasko has made the move ahead of his teammate. Now they're running 7-8 in the Ferraris, and Yasko is the lead driver now, as Itamax has allowed him through. Liam is in 9th, and Mowen is still in 10th, meaning the Racing Point got through during the confusion there.
One person who's had an absolutely stellar recovery drive here is Swifty. We saw him spin on lap 1, and he's now...
What the hell? What did I just see?
Wow.
Is Max literally... Oh, that... Why now? I literally just drove past the pit lane.
Maintain a positive delta.
I literally just watched Max go straight into the wall.
Max is gonna pit, isn't he? Yeah.
I'd pit now. I would have, but I went straight past the pits as it came out.
that he's had on those mediums there, getting to the end of what is really that usable. Meanwhile, Nigel is almost dropped out of DRS range of Domai, So he needs to really step up a gear if he wants to stay in this battle. Meanwhile, Domi's teammate Mowen catching Max Inkster. Those hard tires really haven't done that Haas any favours, and now he's under threat from yet another driver here.
Say that Zam is setting a 1:28.1, making it the fastest lap of the race so far.
Nigel and Domi are back side by side. Nigel, it was just took a few laps off, and now he's back ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Goodness knows where he picked that second back up from, and he lost to the Alfa Romeo, but now sitting pretty in the points as he goes wide as they approach Magnus and Beckett. Domi obviously going to get DRS. Domi's teammate Mowen as well. He's looking at the back of Max Inkster. But it's Nigel versus Domi. They've been the headline fight here so far throughout this race, even though it is for P10. And there's Domi. DRS enabled around the outside of the McLaren, side by side through Stowe. Who's going to get the better exit? It looks like it is going to be Domi as Nigel.
So he's blinked. He's blinked. So now Domi, I think in that Alfa Romeo, he's thinking, okay, it's time to push, because he knows he's fighting Nigel here.
As Jack out of Maggots, as he's pretty much been lapped by just about everyone in this race, just Gadwin behind him. But he's not having a brilliant day today. Neither Williams of the Williams have been doing too brilliantly. But whilst there's not too much going on track, although Jasko actually has caught Swifty up, this could be an interesting fight for 5th place.
Yeah, a couple battles unfolding on circuit right now. Of course, the battle for 11th between Mowen and Max Inkster, but of course, Jasko in this fight for P5 with the Red Bull. He is on the fresher compound mediums right now.
Now, one person who is going to benefit from this is Hyper on those fresh softs. If these guys can hold each other up, and subsequently Liam as well, possibly, if Hyper can either get past Liam before these guys finish up, or Liam gets tangled in this as well, Hyper on those fresh softs is going to look good, but I don't know whether Hyper, we saw him losing pace on those medium tyres as he's come off. I believe he's got the yellow flag.
Not entirely sure if he's come off. He hasn't seemed to drop a massive amount. Very weird there, but Aphrodite has come in finally off of his starting tires here, as Jasko still within a second of Swifty and Mowen within a second of Max Inkster. Where is Aphrodite going to pop out? I believe it was around a 6 to 5 second gap he had ahead of the race leader Zamis, who has now Mikau on his rear around 2 seconds behind, and Mikau being held up by Hyper earlier. Gonna be looking to fly. And Aphrodite's going to come out in 4th position on fresh softs, and that could be big trouble for the front few drivers here. It appears Aphrodite was on a very good strategy, as he only has 12 seconds to make up on the quicker compound tire, and he can stay on them for 20 laps safely. So we will see what kind of pace those softs have in them when things get down to the wire, as Swifty and Jasko have exchanged positions now. Jasko into 5th, Swifty with the DRS looking to catch back up with the Ferrari here on lap 31, as Mowen is still hunting down the Haas of Max Inkster in 11th.
Yeah, and it's just worth pointing out, Jack S there, he's retired from the race. He's just come into the pits after the crash out of Maggots. It looks like he might have crashed out of the pit lane as Max Insta kicks up a bit of dirt. Mowen still behind him, taking up lots of inside curb. Like you said though, regular corner cutting is in play, so there's a lot of places you can do something like that. But the Alfa Romeo right behind Max in the AlphaTauri, a little bit sloppy coming out as they approach the straight. DRS overtake though very low in the Alfa Romeo and the Haas, but Max seems to have a bit to burn, whereas Mowen is having to conserve it right now, which is not what he wants to be doing when there's a car on slow hard tyres in front of him. He needs to just fire past him, and he's not doing that right now. I'm curious as to what was the problem with Hyper there. We saw him flag a couple of, or cause a couple of yellow flags to be sort of propped up on track, but it didn't seem that he was off so much as it was just potentially slow moving. It was almost as if he had some sort of mechanical failure in an engine department. Obviously not something you're likely to cause in a race, especially not this quickly from 0% wear, but it is possible if you really thrash the car. Still going to be an easy strategy. Out of the outside of Beckett comes the Alfa Romeo, and he's got DRS. He's up on the inside towards Stowe. This is exactly where you want to be if you're Mowen, as he goes a little bit deep. Very, very forceful defending, but it is in his right, I believe, to do that as he defends again the inside line. Very nice defensive driving from Mowen instantly after he took that position, and that's really what you want to be doing. Obviously, Max Inkster on these old hards, they're not going to be going any quicker than they are right now. So he's only going to get slower as this race develops, but he's still within that DRS range of the Mowen, sorry.
My mic has gummed up once again, so I'm going to have to stop doing that. But excuse me, Max Inkster getting spun out there. You hate to see it. Mowen and him coming together just before the Wellington Straight, and all of the fast movers moving by them, as things have really kind of slowed down here in this race. Nigel, though, in 12th position on those softs, is going to be looking to cut through some traffic, and the first target on his list is going to be Max Inkster.
In the tank.
Those lockups are hurting the Red Bull racer at the moment. Meanwhile, Nigel on Mowen, down into Stowe. He's getting that move done into 10th position. Very nicely done from him, and he is through for now. Uncertain if the Alpha will be able to have a run, but of course Mikal in second position right now in a fight for lead of this race is starting to hunt down his teammate Zamis, and Mikal now within the DRS. Dare I say we may see it soon. Zamis has been so strong throughout this race. He had such a strong in-lap and charging through the back markers here to try and get away from Mikhail, but Mikhail's such a strong racer as well. He was on pole position, of course, here in this one.
I believe.
Mowen
Whether
has
or
caught
not-
up with the Haas of Max Singster. Meanwhile, Unicorn coming in through Luffield here. I think we're going to see an overtake very, very soon.
Yeah, and it's Mikhail up the front, still leading. 1.5 seconds to his teammate now. He aims on all the tyres, so Zamas could have a sudden burst of speed towards the end of this race. But neither of them particularly reserving ERS for that moment, both in the teens in terms of battery charge.
Everybody running low battery at this point in the race. Some have done very well in managing it. You can see Astrodate in 4th position right now, 24%. Freeware, 30% almost, but his fuel icon's on. You have Zamis with around 20. Mikhail leading this race, who is pulled away from his teammate by about 1.5 right now. We saw it was a little bit higher, which means Zamis is pushing. But all the batteries are on the same level at the moment. And there's a safety car?
Alpha into Maggots. I
Oh.
don't know if it was intentional or not, or if he just completely lost the car. But there was no spin. Into Maggots, he just sort of binned it into the wall. Swifty has just received a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately for him. But he was in the right place at the right time when that was called. And he's going to be able to get some fresh softs. Liam should be able to get him in terms of overtake. He's going to come in. He's only on 6-lap-old softs. That's surprising for me. Alpha leaves, but he is the reason for this safety car here. With
You know who has just gotten a huge struck of luck here is Yoda, because Mikhail still behind him, not lapping him. He's going to be able to come in or stay out, and he is going to come in, and I believe all of the racers are going to come in now, and we're going to see an absolute circus in this pit lane. And you know who's going to be affected by this? Zamis. Big time, as both Mercedes are going to be double stacking under this safety car. Let us hope the gap right now between the rest of these drivers in this grid is going to be enough for Zamis to maintain a 2nd position, because if it isn't, he could be in serious trouble after a superlative drive behind his teammate now, Mikhail, who has just exited. And you can see Zamis is getting a nice set of softs on as well on these 2 Mercedes, these silver arrows, if you will, or black arrows this evening, are going to be flying on this restart.
So here we are. Astrodite, he's going to get stacked, and it's for quite a significant chunk of time as well. Jasko, though, coming into the pit lane, so he is... Oh, wait, no, he's not.
changed his mind. He has stayed out on the mediums in the Ferrari. He's even cut the grass to do it. He is absolutely a mad lad in that Ferrari, as he's saying, you know what? Position. I want the position, and that's going to put him into, what's it going to be? Fourth. Was it worth it? It's going to be a tough call. Because how many drivers is he realistically contending with? What is the gap to leader right now? The gap to leader, the Domai currently lapped. Yoda, the only driver that isn't in that top 8.
Just received a drive-through penalty. So he's messed up big time here. I think not pitting was a mistake, but then speeding under the safety car. That's the final nail, and he's spun.
Oh dear, that Ferrari. Reset to track while he's at it as well. Unfortunate for the Ferrari after what was a very good race from him, but it is Zamis and Mikau now both on tires, and ooh, this could be very spicy as Zamis has some traffic to work his way through. That is the Domi in 9th position. The lapped car, of course, maybe going to be looking to unlap himself at this race restart. Normally, the lapped car should be able to move ahead of the safety car in an attempt to unlap himself here, but as you see, that is not the case. And
yeah, we saw it.
I didn't think it was going to happen, considering it has the entire race has pretty well gone by, and of course, right at the end, we need to have that curveball thrown in, if you will, in that safety car. But I'm sure the drivers are going to be very stoked about this. It's going to make for some very exciting racing at the end of this one. Now, as a result of the Domai unlapping himself, that has unleashed Zamis on his teammate without any traffic to impede him, and Mikau is away now here, and Zamis, his teammate, has dropped back a significant amount already, as Mikau hasn't really given him any indication, but it is both Mercedes away now, almost 2 seconds ahead of the competition, Unicorn. An absolute blistering start from the two Mercedes here, as Freeware now has just begun to catch up to what is going on. A second and a half behind Astrodite, his teammate, as well. It is a 1-2 for Mercedes and a 3-4 for those Honda-powered AlphaTauri.
Further down the grid, Yoda's just snuck past Liam. And now he's got Jasko in his sights. We saw him set fastest lap after fastest lap there at the end, even unlapping himself from the two Mercedes at the front. So his pace is coming through now. But the grid's staying fairly smooth as Mowen is blue flagged. He's going to have to let people pass here. Max receives a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags.
Oh, he needs to get the heck out of Dodge if he wants to stop taking penalties. He's got some seriously fast drivers behind him, and he is holding up Jasko a massive amount for this McLaren and Yoda. Yoda's so clean through Maggots and Beckett's. Jasko's had an issue with Max Inkster, the back marker, and now it's Yoda down the hanger straight ahead of the Ferrari here on the penultimate lap of this race. And who is that? That's Liam on the side of the Ferrari up into stow, wheel to wheel. Is Liam going to get Jasko too? It is looking like it. He goes out a little wide there, and Jasko is into the pit lane on the penultimate lap of this race. Mikau sets the fastest lap, but it is going to get shattered by Astrodite at 1:25.9. Liam and Yoda. Wow, that was just some seriously hard racing through Sector 3. If I've ever seen it here in Silverstone, that's for sure. Wow.
Yeah, if you're Freeware right now, I was toying with the concept that maybe Astrodite was going to catch Freeware. Astrodite was on the softs compared to Freeware on the mediums.
Oh, and Extreme's
now,
out.
Both on softs.
Extreme,
yeah,
I believe, is retired.
Together, I don't know if he came together with Max Inkster out of Maggots and Beckett's, but both of them were facing the wrong way. Obviously, we saw Max crash initially, but then further up the straight, he was also facing the wrong way. So I don't know if those two came together, whether Max rejoined the track or Extreme hit each other, but I'm not quite sure what happened there, or whether they just both crashed separately.
And among just amongst that intensity, I've completely forgotten. Of course, it was Jasko serving that drive-through penalty, and of course, thank you to Harvey in the chat for reminding me. And that is just awful for the Ferrari having to serve a drive-through like that. But of course, it is Mikau now leading this race. His teammate Zamis behind him in second. Mikau coming home here for the British GP MRL Round 4 Endurance Series, taking the win. Zamis, his teammate, right behind. It is a 1-2 for Mercedes here. Freeware taking home that third and final podium position as the rest of the drivers take the checkered flag. Now it is Astrolite in fourth, Yoda fifth, Liam sixth, the Domi in seventh, which is a fantastic result from him having finally unlapped himself and getting even more points. Otherwise, it was looking to be a lock into P9 for him. Swifty in 8th, Yasko in 9th, and Mowen bringing up the rear for the final points position in 10th. What a race. Nigel,
Swifty
Gadwin,
lost so many positions there.
and Max Singster, the last drivers to race him. Swifty did lose quite a few positions.
3 positions to a 5-second penalty. That safety car really didn't help him out there. But Mikau as well, I don't know if you noticed, he did snatch a fastest lap at the end as well there. So, very impressive from the Australian in the Mercedes. And we're about to see him take the top spot there on the podium, joined by his teammate Zamis.
Now, I am not entirely sure if we are going to be getting... Are we going to try and do interviews for this race? I'm not sure. I didn't really think about it. Of
No
course,
one in the
that's something
waiting room.
new that we're doing. But it's a long race. I imagine everyone's tired, so maybe we'll skip it. But yes, there it is. Of course, the final classification here for this one, it was the British Grand Prix 100% distance, round 4 of the MRL Endurance Series. Mikau with the race win from pole position. His teammate Zamis, who started on the front row next to him, they did it perfectly. They came home with the 1-2 for the Merc team. Freeware taking home that third position, and he started in third as well. So the top 3 staying where they started. Of course, I'm sure a couple of them would have had it differently. Astrolite in 4th, Yoda in 5th, Liam 6th, the Domi in 7th, Swifty in 8th, Yasko in 9th, and Mowen rounding off your top 10. As Gadwin comes in 11th with Nigel in 12th, Max Inkster in 13th, and of course, Extreme, Alpha, Hyper, Just Jack X, It's a Max, Crampy, and unfortunately Inulator as well, all unable to finish out this one here, all resulting in DNFs.